How's it going? My name is Russell Moore. I'm the marketing manager here on the USS Hornet. I'm the author of this book, USS Hornet, CV-12, Service in War and Peace. This book is something that I've always wanted to do. This is the first book I've ever written. Ever since I was a teenager, I would say, I've always had this idea that I would love to write a book that I would like to read. And it was around that same time that I got really interested in World War II history. And so for me, being able to write this book with a large component of about World War II was sort of like a dream come true. I think one of the things that was very fun to write and that I think will draw you in as a reader is that I was able to interview some of the actual crewmen from the USS Hornet. I got to talk to one man who was a crewman in World War II, a couple of crew members from the 50s, and then several from the 60s. And their experiences, whether it was, what it was like during World War II, what it was like during sort of the Cold War, around the world cruise that the Hornet did, and then some of the Vietnam War experiences, and also the Apollo space program, which is a big part of our history. Hearing the actual guys that were on the ship to tell me their personal stories was a real highlight for me, and I hope it'll be a highlight for you reading the book as well. So this book covers the history of the Hornet from the design and construction of it, so before it was even built, all the way up into present day. So what I cover is the thought process behind the SS-class carriers, the actual construction of this one, the Hornet, and then the launching of it in World War II, its battle history during World War II, and then what happened between then and when it retired in 1970. So the Hornet served during the Cold War, it served during the Vietnam War, it was upgraded multiple times and modified to meet new missions and new challenges and to incorporate sort of new technologies. For me, the research process was long and extensive. There's a lot of books that have been written about Essex-class carriers, a lot of books written about the Hornet, a lot of books written about World War II, and some of the other periods of history that I covered. So I kind of read everything and tried to pull it together and add some of my own thoughts and ideas to it. Probably the biggest source was the war diaries of the Hornet during World War II. There's a lot of really detailed information in there that you don't always find in every book that you read that's written by essentially the captains or probably their staff on a daily basis while the ship is at war. So I would say World War II is probably the most extensively written part of this book. So I think that if you read this book and then you are like, I want to learn a little bit more about something that I read about, there's a lot in here in the book that I would hope would drive you to want to visit the ship. And there's two main things. First of all, our docents. So we have a lot of folks, a lot of veterans, a lot of people that have been around for a long time that can tell you their personal stories in even more depth than I was able to put into the book. So if you're interested in some part of the history that you read in the book and you want to learn more, then come here and ask our docents and you'll find out more. The second part is that a lot of the things that I talk about, especially in the latter part of the book, I talk about the exhibits, the rooms that have been opened, the artifacts that we have. You can come and see them. And so pictures are great, but they don't do them full justice to actually standing in the hangar bay and looking at our aircraft and our helicopters and getting down into the ready room or even the engine room and up onto the bridge. And so I would hope that you would read this book and get inspired to want to come and visit and learn more about all the things that I talk about in the book.